January 26, 1966. 3 children walked onto a beach in Adelaide and disappeared into thin air. Jane was 9. Arnna was 7. Grant was 4. Despite the largest search operation in Southern Hemisphere history, not a single trace of them was ever found. 58 years later, this case remains completely unsolved. But here's what's truly disturbing: the psychological impact rippled far beyond one family. It haunted an entire nation, reshaped child safety forever, and continues to teach us something fundamental about how we cope when answers never come. The Beaumont family wasn't unusual. Jim worked as a mechanic. Norma managed the household. They had 3 healthy, ordinary children. On that sweltering January morning, Norma decided the beach was the perfect escape from the heat. Glenelg was packed, families everywhere, vendors selling ice cream, the pavilion alive with activity. No red flags. No sense of danger. Just another day at the seaside. Except it would become the moment that changed everything about how Australia thought about child safety. Around 10 a.m., Norma handed each child pocket money. Jane, the eldest, received clear instructions: watch your siblings. She was 9, responsible, the kind of girl trusted with small duties. The 3 walked to the kiosk, bought ice cream and hot chips, and returned to play near the bathing pavilion. Other beachgoers saw them laughing, splashing in the shallows. Happy. Visible. Safe. By early afternoon, they had vanished completely. When Norma couldn't find them, she searched methodically at first. Then frantically. Then the realization hit her: her 3 children were gone. What happened next was unprecedented. Police mobilized immediately. But there was no body. No clothing. No shoes. No blood. It was as if the children had simply ceased to exist. Within hours, volunteers flooded the beaches. Within days, over 1,000 people combed through Adelaide, checking buildings, vehicles, bushland, every conceivable hiding place. Divers searched the waters. Dogs tracked scents that vanished. The scale of the search was extraordinary, yet it yielded nothing. Nothing but questions. From a psychological standpoint, the Beaumont case created a specific kind of torment: absence without closure. Parents of deceased children can grieve. They can hold funerals, plant trees, visit graves. The Beaumonts could do none of that. There was no body to bury. No ritual to mark the end. Instead, they lived in perpetual suspension, neither confirmed alive nor confirmed dead. The human mind cannot tolerate this liminal space indefinitely. It fills the void with theories. Some believed the children had been abducted and trafficked. Others suggested they'd been swept by riptides far out to sea. A few proposed supernatural interventions. Each theory offered a perverse comfort: at least it was an answer. Norma Beaumont was a devout Christian, and in the face of unimaginable loss, her faith didn't crack, it deepened. She believed her children's souls were in God's hands. This response is documented repeatedly in families facing missing children cases. Religion becomes the load-bearing wall that prevents complete collapse. It provides structure when everything else crumbles. It offers narrative, God's plan, divine purpose, eternal reunion. Without this framework, many parents have reported they wouldn't have survived psychologically. Faith didn't give Norma answers. But it gave her a reason to keep breathing. Suspects emerged over the years. A man seen loitering near the pavilion. A suspicious vehicle. A registered sex offender with a history. Each one was investigated meticulously. Each one either had an alibi that held or simply didn't fit. The Australian Federal Police conducted what was, at the time, one of the most thorough investigations ever mounted. But forensic science in 1966 was primitive. No DNA. No surveillance footage. No digital trails. The investigation stalled not because of laziness, but because the tools didn't exist. Every promising lead evaporated under scrutiny. Then darker theories surfaced. Organ trafficking. Medical experimentation. International criminal networks. These ideas had no evidence, yet they persisted because they filled a psychological need. When reality is unbearably random and cruel, we sometimes prefer to believe in conspiracy. A calculated crime, however horrific, is psychologically more tolerable than pure chance. It suggests malice instead of accident. It gives the tragedy shape and meaning, however dark. This tells us something crucial about how humans cope with inexplicable loss. Yet the Beaumont disappearance produced something tangible and positive: systemic change. New protocols for missing children reports were established. Beach safety was revolutionized: lifeguard positioning, supervision standards, emergency procedures. Child welfare laws were strengthened. Parental supervision expectations were clarified. A tragedy with no victims recovered created a legacy of lives saved. This is the paradox of the Beaumont case: their absence, if that's what it was, became presence in the form of prevention. Their loss prevented countless other losses. In 2016, 50 years later, a woman came forward with a claim. She alleged she knew what happened to the children. The case was reopened. Investigators applied forensic techniques that didn't exist in 1966. Advanced analysis. DNA testing capability. Yet again, nothing conclusive emerged. The mystery remained closed. This is the cruel mathematics of cold cases: modern technology cannot solve every mystery. Sometimes, despite our best efforts and greatest hopes, the answer simply doesn't exist. And families must learn to live with that unbearable truth. Jane would be 67 today. Arnna would be 65. Grant would be 62. We'll never know if they're alive somewhere, living under different names. We'll never know if they're buried somewhere undiscovered. We'll never know if they were victims of intentional harm or tragic accident. What we do know is that their family endured decades without closure, without the psychological resolution that would allow complete grief. And yet the Beaumont family persisted. Their faith persisted. Their love persisted. In psychology, this is what we study: how humans survive when answers are impossible. The Beaumont case reveals what psychologists have long understood: humans need closure. We need narrative resolution. When we don't have it, we create it. We invent theories, embrace religion, cling to rituals. We find ways to survive in the absence of truth. Whether Jane, Arnna, and Grant fell victim to crime, accident, or something we cannot comprehend, their legacy lives in improved child safety laws, in institutional memory, and in our ongoing understanding of trauma and resilience. Their disappearance didn't just haunt Australia, it transformed how Australia protects children. So here's the question that haunts us: should we demand answers at all costs, or learn to accept that some mysteries remain unsolved? The Beaumont case suggests that sometimes the absence of answers is itself a kind of answer, about the limits of human knowledge, about the randomness of tragedy, about what it takes to survive when certainty never comes. What do you think? Is it better to live with unsolved mystery or to create a false answer just to have some kind of closure?